Okay, let us understand the CICs. Okay, CIC is Circuit Information Code. Okay, so you can see that between two exchanges, let's say exchange A and exchange B, there are, let's say, some n number of circuits, n circuits. Okay, so each circuit will have one identification, circuit 0, circuit 1, circuit 2, circuit 3, like that. There will be, let's say, 128 circuits. So A, comma B, comma CIC, this is going to be a unique combination. Okay, so let's say A and B are point codes. So point code of origin, point code of destination, and the CIC number. This is going to be a unique tuple. What this means is, if A is connected to C also, then it can have same number of CICs over there. So it is possible for CICs to overlap between different circuits, between separate endpoints, but between the same endpoint, it will always be a unique thing. So A, the point code of origin, point code of destination, and the CIC number. This is going to be a unique tuple, and it is used to identify one particular circuit in the for making the communication. Okay, now each CIC is actually 16-bit, but 16-bit, out of 16-bit, only 12 bits are used, and 4 bits they remain as spare. These 4 bits, they act as a CIC extension if it is required to be used in the international communication. But for national communication, only 12 bits are used. Okay, now see how these 12 bits can be used. We all know each PCM link, it is a 2 Mbps line. Okay, each PCM link is 2 Mbps line, and each link, it has 32 channels. This one has 32 channels. So each channel can be represented by just the 5 bits of CIC. So CIC has how many bits? 12 bits. Out of 12 bits, 5 bits have been used for identifying one channel in a single link. So how many bits are remaining now? 7 bits are remaining. These 7 bits, it can be used to identify the link. So total how many links are possible? 2 to the power 7. These many links are possible between two exchanges, and 2 to the power 5, these are the number of channels in each link. Okay, like here, if there are, let's say, 5 links, link 1, link 2, link 3, link 4, link 5. Okay, so this link 1 is for 2 Mbps. It has 32 channels. This link 2, this also has 32 channels. Link 3, this also has 32 channels. 4, this also has 32 channels. Link 5, this also has 32 channels. So links, how many links are possible? So total 5 links we have, and each link has 32 channels. Okay, so out of 12 bits of CIC, the first 7 is going to be used to identify this particular link. So how many bits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total, using 3 bits itself, you can identify the link, and the remaining 5, it can be used to identify the particular channel in the link. Okay, this is used to identify the channel in the link, and this can be used to identify a particular link itself. So I hope this part was clear. Now it is possible that for a certain call, just one link is not enough. Typically for ISDN, okay, because ISDN is not simply one audio channel. There are video channels also. There are data channels also, and the main thing is these channels, they can work in parallel. So it is possible to have audio channel in parallel with video channel, in parallel with data fax channels. So at a time, it may be required to seize several circuits for making one ISDN call. Okay. Now these circuits, they can be uh, continuous also. Continuous in the sense that each channel each channel uh, will have the CICs allocated in a continuous manner. Okay, like uh, okay, like this link. So it has 32 channels, and now let's suppose one particular communication, it requires three channels. So it can either be that all three channels we can allocate continuously like this. So these three channels will be seized for call one, or there is another approach that these channels could be anywhere. So let's say first channel is here, second channel is here, third channel is here. Okay, so this is a continuous allocation, and this is you can say disjoint allocation. Typically, you'll see when the communication is national, then this kind of communication, this kind of disjoint allocation is there. But when the communication is international, then this kind of communication allocation is there. That is the continuous one, because it is required by the international gateways. But national gateways, the national exchanges, they can handle arbitrary links. Okay. Now for this kind of disjoint channel allocation, a channel map is also required to be sent along with each message. And that map is basically to indicate which channels are occupied for the CIC. So it is typically a 32-bit map, 32-bit map indicating which channels are actually having the main call, the information of main call. Okay. And one last thing, that we have a SLS also. Okay. So what we understood here is that the origin point code, the destination point code, and the CIC. This is a unique tuple. Okay, this is a unique information. We also have the SLS also, which is a 4-bit information to indicate the link. Okay, now this information is somehow redundant with the CIC. So because CICs, they also have information about the link as well as the channel. So some information, some part of CIC is directly mapped to SLS. So when the ISOP message is formed, then some part of CIC is taken and just copied over to the SLS, like that. Okay, typically the 4 bits of CIC, they indicate the link set itself. But SLS and OPC DPC, they are not the unique tuple. The unique tuple is OPC DPC and the circuit information code. Okay, circuit information code, it encompasses several link sets, so we don't have to carry information about which link set. It just uh, Since it is 12 bits long, so 2 to the power 12 number of channels can be there between any two exchanges for a particular point code. Okay, and finally, there is a message type also in each ISUP message, and this message type, as the name suggests, it is used to indicate the name of ISUP message or the ISUP procedure which is happening. So as we go along, we'll see how many ISUP messages are there and what they do.